So first we're going to take a look at expanding and factoring, also known as the distributive property. So I want to take us back to the hanger balances that we learned about in earlier units, and we have the expression 3 groups of 2x plus 5, and then we have the expression 6x plus 15. Now there's no equal sign, so we don't have the other side of the balance scale. We're just looking at these expressions. So how can we rewrite 3 groups of 2x plus 5, and how can we rewrite 6x plus 15? Now what we teach the students is that these are equivalent, and depending on the situation, you may use either one. So we teach them how to recognize going from expanded form and then factoring to get back and forth. So when we're looking at this example, 3 groups of 2x plus 5, it's like the balance scale where we had the 2x and a 5, a 2x and a 5, the 2x and a 5. We have 3 groups of 2x plus 5. The students find this one the easiest because it is the distributive property. So they know that they have 3 groups of 2x. So 3 groups of 2x would be 6x. 2x plus 2x plus 2x, and we're sorting and combining those two x's. And then we also have 3 groups of 5. So we have 3 groups of both, 3 groups of 5. So the common error that a lot of students make with this is they do the 3 groups of 2x and they just leave this as 5. They have to remember that there are 3 groups of 2x's, but there's also 3 groups of 5. They're a set, and there's 3 of them. So sometimes listing it out like this, especially if this new number that they're multiplying by, the groups of, is a smaller number, it's helpful for them sometimes to write it out, 2x plus 5, 2x plus 5, 2x plus 5, so they can see that really this is 6x plus 15. Now, going backwards, starting with 6x plus 15 and trying to break it apart can be a little challenging. So what we sometimes do is use these diagrams that the students have actually used in elementary school when they learned how to multiply. And we asked the students to think of what number can we multiply 2 numbers by and get 6. So we know we can do 3 times 2. Now, we don't want to put the 2 here because if we put the 2 here, 2 is not something we can multiply to get to 15. 2 times nothing, well, it's 7.5, but we're looking at whole numbers. So 2 is not a factor of 15, but 3 is a factor of 15. 3 will work for both 6 and 15. So this is the number that of groups that we need to make. So that's why it's the numbers on the outside. I'm going to make 3 groups of something to make 6 and 3 groups of something to make 15. So my 3 times 2 is my 6, and that would be 2x because I want to keep my variable, my coefficient together when I'm multiplying. So 3 groups of 2x would give me 6x, and 3 groups of 5 will give me 15. They have to think about the numbers 6 and 5 and think, what is the common factor? And we prefer the greatest common factor. So they learned this back in 5th grade as well. What does 6 and 15 have in common? And the common factor is 3. Okay, and that just happens to be the greatest common factor. So we're using that greatest common factor to figure out how we can rewrite 6x plus 15 using parentheses. So we would say 3 groups of, because 3 is the common factor, 2x plus 5. And we can check our work by going backwards and see if we get the same thing. So if I go and use my little distributive strategy, 3 groups of 2x would be 6x, and 3 groups of 5 would be 15. So this is expanding and factoring.